All right. Not too accustomed, so am I speaking into the mic?
Yes.
All right. Usually I just talk really loud. I want to thank everybody for the generous words. I'd love to respond to all those generous words, but probably no. You don't want to be here for it. But it's wonderful and exciting to hear all those nice words. It sounds like I never made a mistake. Holy cow! I will say I will take credit for Lawrence coming here. He's certainly done wonderful things here. I'd like to thank everybody who made this day possible. And we don't have to clap for everyone. We'll have a virtual applause, and that'll be good. Diane Huster's team, who put the whole event together. Carol Majahad, who's behind the scenes and does all the things that need to be done that nobody ever sees. Lawrence and his Rolling Ridge crew, and Stan and the Society Board, and every single one of you who bought a ticket, who sponsored us, who financially contributed. My thanks to all of you. Now we can have applause. So Cole and I discussed my speech at length, possibly ad nauseum, and I said, so Cole, what should I say? And he said I should tell you all. I couldn't possibly have done it without him. It's a 7-page speech, but you've just heard the first page. It goes quickly. This is an amazing time in historic preservation. It's a time of transition. Everybody who's concerned about historic preservation is going through change. Change is hard. One of the changes is the way we understand our mission has been changing. One of the changes is there has been a tremendous growth of public oversight of historic spaces and public support. And finally, that great disruptor of all of our lives, of every organization, the internet. So more on all of those. The Darwinian law of survival of the fittest applies to organizations: evolve or die. And you will be interested to know there is still one buggy whip factory in Westfield, Massachusetts. But it's small. How does this apply to the Historical Society? Many of you have heard me talk about this. Old style, new style. If you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. Old style represents our roots. We were standards of the past. We collected everything, if it was old. The Historical Society was a private club. You had to be voted into membership. I often wonder if anybody was ever, not accepted. Our founding members in 1913 involved a large, prosperous, local family. You might know who they are. Hint, hint, I'm related. And they provided, in the first 50 years, there were 5 presidents, and 4 of them were one single branch. Samuel Dale founded it with Lucy Amelia. We see her picture. When he died, his brother became president. Okay. Then he died, and his nephew became the president. And then he died, and his niece became the president. There was one guy in there, I can't figure out who he was. He has to have been related. That was very much old style. Privately supported. I'm not used to giving a speech with paper. I'm used to having it all up on the screen with Vanna there, just making the pages go along. So, in the beginning, in 1913, the Society and all its members understood that Their understanding of stewardship was you own it. That was the only understanding anybody had of stewardship of historic landscape. You owned it. And I have to tell you a little thing about the Stevens family. They had an early ancestor who bought everything that was available. Jonathan Stevens started with a small farm by Stevie's Pond up to Great Pond Road, and he just acquired every farm around him when it was for sale. And he ended up owning a lot. And they had that concept, why don't we just buy it? It was privately funded when it was founded. The dues were 50 cents. You could buy a life membership for $25. I have an old letter that my father wrote to his parents when he first came up here to live, saying he had made a great investment. He had bought a life membership, feeling that it really, in the end, would repay itself. It was privately funded by those 50 cents and, you know, a little gift here and there when it was needed. And in those days, no internet. We all communicated by talking to each other, with a letter, by a telephone. Very local, very hyper-local. Okay, fast forward 100 years. I told you the speech would go fast. New style has arrived. Okay, this will be on the exam afterwards. The concept of stewardship, as it is understood today by all preservation organizations, is that stewardship of a building, of a space, can mean use many mechanisms. You might own it, but you might also have private legal restrictions, which you enforce, or we might have, today we have public oversight. The role of local and higher levels of municipality, the role of public preservation today has become enormous. The CPA Act was passed in North Andover. It was one of the very first. And since the CPA Act was passed in North Andover, there have been 59 historic preservation projects with a total cost of over $9 million. That is enormous. That's town funding. Thank you all who are taxpayers. We could never have raised that much money. So the public oversight and the public funding have totally been a game changer about all of that. And all the larger organizations have moved to this understanding a long time ago. We're a little bit slow on the uptake. Historic New England has a stewardship program of over 100 houses, and what they mean is you own the house, you pay Historic New England to come periodically and look at your building and make sure you're doing, or the next owner, because that's really who you mean, the next owner is following the rules you set down. Finally, we have the internet. Okay. How many people here hate the internet? Yes, I got a smartphone. I hate my new phone. Oh my God, and my new phone hates me. Really, it is desperate. So the internet offers us great opportunity. We can create virtual experiences, which is what people want. We can communicate with our members 24/7. Lots of opportunity here. Here's the bad news. All of our competitors are also communicating with all of our audience 24/7. So it's a tremendous interrupter. We don't know. And then the Historical Society, a personal change that's happening. As everybody knows, Carol is going to step out of her current role. So our leadership, after 31 years, our leadership is changing. There's that word again, change, change, change. Oh, change is tough. Change is tough.
Yes, it is.
So we have a lot of things going on. So that's the past. That's where we've been. That's where we are today. Now let's think about the future. The future is here. The future is an hour. The future is in a year. What is our future? Our whole environment has changed. The way everybody in our industry thinks about things has changed. The players in our industry have changed. We don't have any little geographic lock on things because the internet tries to provide us with everything. Younger generations like the internet. So when we look to the future, in our map of the future, there are a few broad concepts. Stewardship over buildings will be achieved through some partnership of private restrictions and public oversight. This is a new reality, and there's much that's good in that new reality. Funding will have to come from public as well as private sources. And for good or ill, the internet is the future. That's where we need to go. Our journey into the future needs to include the internet in some way because that's the new reality. We're choosing a new executive director. We're just starting that process. We are moving into the unknown territory. We're going into uncharted territories. When Lewis and Clark decided to explore the Northwest Territories after the Louisiana Purchase, has anybody seen the actual map of where they went? Anyway, uncharted. Oh, good, Phyla has. They hired a guide. And it's really in keeping with our theme, Sacagawea, women who make a difference. Sacagawea made a difference on that trip. The society is going to hire a guide to help us move into the uncharted future. We are talking to Third Sector New England that deals only with nonprofits. We are in the process of finding our guide. Might not be a woman. Oh well. You know, men are pretty great too, usually. So,
Is that your sister?
our guide will help us explore this new future. It will be a journey. Lewis and Clark, it was actually 3 years, their journey. I hope it doesn't take that long to find a new executive director. We could be in trouble. It will be an exciting journey. There's a great deal of opportunity in this uncharted future. We hope all of you will participate with us in this journey, if only by reading the emails that we send you from time to time. Thank you all.
Thank you for giving us a vision of the future. One thing that I'd like to do is I'd like to present to Kathy and Kroll this wonderful picture and citation that talks about their contribution to our society and to our community in their historic preservation role over many, many years. So thank you both for everything you've done for us. Thank you. And you can hang this on the wall if you want. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. It's been wonderful, and so wonderful to get to meet so many of your family, Kathy. That was a nice treat for all of us.
And there are more.
Now, I'd like to invite our barbershop quartet back up for one final send-off song. Two final send-offs.